Hey guys, it's M, and man oh man, we have a interesting video to talk about today. Now, I've seen this video before, the Under the Mayo Trepang 2 video. I've seen this before, and honestly, I think I went into it with a bad mindset, and I waited a good long while to the point that I don't remember what he said. I did that intentionally, because I didn't want to just regurgitate my points and then, sound fake. I think that this is a little bit infamous. This is kind of an infamous video. I had heard about it before I even played Trepang. That's how crazy this is. I also think it's crazy that this video has 38k views. This hasn't been re-uploaded to my knowledge. And then you look at the ones shitting on it, and they've managed to gather a good bit more views. There's this one, 134k versus 38k views. I mean, I can't find the other ones. I've seen more. There's another one, 4.6. I know a few people have made responses to Under the Mayo's Trepang review. And honestly, from what I remember watching, I didn't think it was that bad. He said some points I disagreed with, but in comparison to, I'm gonna talk about like the Dark Souls community a bit, but in comparison to like Mauler or Feeble Kings kind of, I'm not fully with this game kind of videos, this was light. If I remember right, this whole "it's not fear" joke here, from what I remember, Mayo keeps talking and he goes, I wish this thing happened because it's in a game like Fear. And I understand drawing that comparison because Trepang is based off of Fear. I can't fully get into it because I don't really remember every point he said, but I don't think drawing a comparison to a game something is based off of, I don't think that's that crazy. So we'll see.
Hey guys, this is Cut in M really quick. Just wanted to make some things crystal clear. First, when he's talking, you'll be seeing Trepang footage on screen, and when I'm talking, you'll be seeing Space Marines footage. All the clips you're going to be seeing are my clips. I'm just doing that because it's easier on me in the editing front, and my footage tends to look crisper in the software than the video I'm actually watching and recording. Second, I've platinumed the game, I have the gold skins, I have the gold foil skins. I've done a lot with it. The past me that I said came in with a malicious mindset, I think he saw the video about 5 or so months ago. I don't even think he beat it on very hard, and that's why you'll hear me say, I don't really remember him saying anything crazy because it was really a while ago for me, and I was significantly worse at the game back then, so I probably didn't take offense to some of the things he was saying like I would now. Anyways, let me let you back to the video.
Also, I do remember Mayo did not handle the comments very well. I do very much remember him calling someone a pussy in the comments, which is not what you want to do. Let's pause and go over the comments. I'm not going to pre-base my thoughts off of this, but I just want to make sure that I'm right about this because I remember that there was one spicy comment where, look at the comments, honestly. Like, they're not with him. Like, listening to this dude actually gave me an aneurysm. Ultra Kill and Trepang fans both having mental illness was a funny surprise from 2023. It's not the kind of response you should give. Honestly, this is a bait comment if I've ever seen it. There should be a court order to make this dude actually play the games he bitches about. Contradiction after contradiction. Played it all the way on a high difficulty, enjoyed it a lot. Not my fault. This is the comment. This is the exact comment I remembered. Not my fault. The fans are butthurt little pussies that can't handle me wishing you could hold another weapon and more equipment like Fear. Game it's obviously based on. Never cook again. Ah, man. Yeah. I mean, yikes. Mayo's the kind of guy that seems to not enjoy having fun. From what I remember, see, this is a way better response. From what I remember, again, Mayo doesn't say anything super crazy. I just remember him bringing up Fear a lot, and that's a little annoying, sure, but I don't think it warrants some of these comments. I think some of these comments, and probably the guy with the 138k views on a response to a video that got 38k views, I think it might be a little crazy. But let's see. Maybe I start the video again. I misremembered, and he says Trepang is like the booty crack of shooters. maybe that occurs. Who knows?
Trepang 2 is a game I have a lot to say about. Fear, the game it's largely based on, is one of my all-time favorites. I've been anxiously awaiting the release of Trepang 2 ever since the first demo, which I did not play. I saw it, immediately knew it was right up my alley, and decided to wait until it came out. I'm going
to comment on this because I know a few people commented on this. But a lot of people had a take on him saying, I saw the game was up my alley, and then I didn't play it until the full game came out. I don't think that's a crazy take. I've heard people react as if that's a crazy take. I don't think it is. Also, another anti-Under the Mayo Trepang video. But being excited for a game that you think you would like and then not playing the demo because you want to play the full game, is that not a normal thing to do? I think that kind of just makes sense. If you're really excited for something, you want the full meal. You don't want to bite at the scraps, But let's keep going.
I did, because the initial joy of returning to Fear's combat does a lot for this game. If I had already spoiled it by playing the demo, I think I would be less satisfied with it. Because I am kinda unsatisfied. It's a bit of a mixed bag, but still a game I ultimately enjoyed and would recommend. The combat is really good, the guns feel amazing, the effects and graphics and gore are impressive. It's great. I'm not gonna get into that stuff too much here though. Instead, I want to talk about the core mechanics of Trepang 2 and how great they are when they work, and how not great they are when they don't. As I sometimes do, I'm just gonna refer you to G-Man's review if you want a more general look at the game. He covers combat, weapons, levels, music, story, interactivity. It's a good review. If that's what you're looking for, that's the video to watch. Here, we're gonna dig into some specifics that I think hold this game back.
I just want to say something. If a community's against you, again, I'm not taking a side, but if the community's against you and in some point of the video you say, check out this guy's review, that's a good review, I can already see someone twisting it. Unlike this one. That's kind of a free alley-oop, I'm not gonna lie to you. But okay, I was just thinking.
With 6 difficulty settings available, I went with number 4. Very hard, just to feel it out. You can actually pick a difficulty before starting each mission, which is quite nice.
Oh.
There is no information on what difficulty settings affect. Do you take more damage? Are enemies spongier? Are there fewer resources? Is the AI smarter or more aggressive? Do your powers burn out quicker? Who knows? And I'm not going to play on a bunch of different difficulties and spend hours making measurements. I'll just say for me, moderately skilled FPS veteran and a fan of Fear, Very Hard was for the most part a solid combat experience, with a few significant difficulty spikes that really had me paying attention and mastering my tools and dying a lot.
Okay, because what I want to say about the difficulty is I feel like it's pretty obvious if you play them, not even trying to spice it, but if you play on Rage mode, it's quite obvious what the difference between like Rage mode and Very Hard is. The enemies react faster and they hurt more. But it's kind of like Doom where like that is a thing, but they still die at the same speed. I think if you've just played the game on the other difficulties, most people would be able to tell you that. So kind of a weird point. Again, if you just played the game, you would know this. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't play the game. He probably played it on Very Hard and then maybe ended there, or if not, played a little bit more on Very Hard still. But yeah, if you're a sweat of this game and you really love the game, I'm sure most people could tell you that is the difference. It's like reaction speed and how much damage the enemies do to you. You don't need sheets and a bunch of numbers. It is very obvious when you jump up.
You have the classic Fear reflex ability, here called Focus, and it's the star of the game. Slow down time to take out a group of bad guys, use it to avoid damage, or just toggle it quickly to get one guy and save the rest for later. You also have a cloaking ability, which turns out to be much more important than I expected. It's great for escaping imminent death, so you can find some cover, sneaking around someone to take a hostage, which can cause enemies to hold their fire, and Cloak is just a general useful method of avoiding damage. Your health regenerates, but only a sliver. I think that's fair for a game with so much chaos and no active healing mechanic like Fear had. Cloaking really is your ticket out of a bad situation when everyone is ganging up on you and spraying machine guns in your general direction from a distance. I lost count of how many times I got locked down under suppressing fire and it felt like I couldn't move. Cloaking for just a second or two to change positions became incredibly important. So these are your 2 abilities, but they do not recharge in the same way. Cloaking regens automatically and fairly quickly. You'll almost always have a few seconds of cloak ready to go at any moment, and thank God. But the focus bar is recharged manually, which is a huge change from how Fear did it. The reflex ability in Fear recharged over time, which is a contributing factor in it breaking the balance. Fear is actually a much more fun game to replay without slow-mo because of that. And in Trepang 2, if you could just hide for a bit or run around in circles until you had more focus, this game would easily fall apart. Fortunately, focus only recharges by attacking enemies. With a few kills under your belt, you'll restore a bit of focus. Use it for a quick slow-mo tactic, or keep killing to charge up a lot and then unleash an all-out slow-mo assault.
I'm not disagreeing with anything he's saying. I'm just observing the way he's playing, and I can see why he stopped on Very Hard and found it very difficult if he was playing like this. Because, as any Trepang sweat would tell you, the way that he's using focus, he's holding it for a little longer than you need to be. And he's scoping in, which a lot of sweaty Trepang players will not be scoping in the way he is. This is just a quick little addition. It doesn't really go against anything he's saying. I'm not flaming him. Your ass! You don't have the gold skins! I'm not saying that. It's just a little observation. Also, I can see the Fear points. I can see how it would be kind of annoying if you like this game and you want someone to judge it on itself and then you go, like its spiritual successor, game I really like, Fear. I don't think it's the craziest thing to say in this scenario, but you know, I could see why someone would be a little miffed about it.
Everyone in the room. It's a wonderful change that holds the player accountable and rewards offense and smart tactical decision making. I'm very happy with it. However, I'm far less happy with the stamina system because I feel it's confused. I'm not against the game having stamina. I do love the idea of killing enemies giving you a stamina boost. So if you're always in the action, you're never out of stamina. Super cool mechanic. But there's 2 things that are just killing me. First, there are plenty of sections where there's no combat. In the campaign levels and at the base, which is your hub world, there's nothing to do here but run to the mission select screen and run back to the helicopter, and you awkwardly run out of stamina on the way. Maybe they could have made stamina something you only deal with in combat scenarios. It reminds me of Nightmare of Decay, where they updated the game to remove stamina from areas you've already cleared, to make backtracking less tedious. Going from...
I don't think he's wrong. It is genuinely really awkward when There's nothing going on. In combat, I think it's fine, right? But when there's nothing going on, or it's a segment where you're forced to run, it's really weird that Super Soldier 106 is like, God, oh! Like, perfect example is the Mothman section. I think with the infinite stamina cheat on, the Mothman escape section works way better, because there's no awkward pausing, breaking it up, right? The same thing goes with Sight Omega when you're escaping after killing Emerson. It just flows a lot better when you have infinite stamina and you can just run. It lets you take in the moment. I don't really mind the mission pad thing, but I can understand where he's coming from. It does just feel weird that, again, Super Soldier is running down the block. Oh God, my legs! Yeah. I don't necessarily disagree with this point. Unless he throws some random twist on it, I'm kind of with him on this.
Actively managing stamina in combat to constantly suffering from its limitations when not in combat is what makes the whole thing feel confused. And the second point is that there's a horrible, horrible bug where if you press left or right with the run key and then press forward, you don't run. I'll break this down a bit for you. You cannot, which is fine, but you can run forward into the side by pressing both a side direction and forward. If you press forward plus run and then left or right, you run diagonally. If you walk forward and then start walking diagonally and then press run, you run diagonally. If you walk to the side and then press forward and then press run, you run diagonally. But if you walk to the side and press run before pressing forward, the run command does not register. This also happens if you press run.
This kind of feels like a non-issue. Is it me? Because I feel like in Trepang, you're always kind of running forward. When are you ever side strafing? Like, I can understand it'd be cool if it was a feature, I guess. I just don't think that's that big of a problem. Like, you know, I can't run to the side. It's in Trepang specifically, I just don't see it as an issue because you're always running forward. In most high difficulties, anyway. Because I think in the higher difficulties, I think most kind of sweats of the game, or people who play it frequently, they play on extreme, and some crazy people play on rage normally. On those difficulties, I can't imagine you ever going, yes, let me run to the side and strafe while shooting. I can't imagine that happening. It doesn't really fit the game. It's a very aggressive, fast-paced run forward, turn around, hit a shot, run back. It doesn't really fit here, in my opinion. This isn't a super crazy weird take, but I just don't think it fits. I guess if you play on lower difficulties, you might have this thought initially. When Trepang gets harder and they push you into playing better, I don't think you would need this. I can't think of a single scenario where this would really work that well, you know?
First, and then move to the side and then press forward. In both situations, the run command is forgotten, and you're left slowly walking diagonally even though you're holding the run key. It leads to incredibly frustrating moments where you swear you're supposed to be running, but you aren't. Just because you were strafing around before you started trying to run, you can't run.
Yeah, see, like, even that little clip right there, that's kind of weird. Like, I don't want to say most good players. I'm really not trying to shit on this dude's skill level. I'm just saying when you play this game to a higher level, you just don't really move like that. Like, that was super weird and awkward. Just going, I'm just gonna walk and then just hit whatever is on the way, you know? Especially in that way that he just did by, like, just waddling over. I don't think people do that. I think that that's something that you should most likely adapt out of the more you play the game. He clearly didn't. Maybe he only beat the game once and then made this review or whatever. But I think most people would just adjust to this control thing, and it doesn't really matter after that. I don't think it's worth, like, a video point.
20% of my deaths were caused by this bug.
How many?
Please, you can't run. I'd say 20% of my deaths were...
I thought he said 80. I was about to say, no way. Okay.
...by this bug. Please, please, please fix this. How does something like this go unnoticed 3 years after the demo came out? So, on the topic of things feeling confused, I want to discuss the weapon carry number and the modification system. For a game so inspired by fear, and significantly ramping up the action and the number of enemies on screen, and the variety of enemy types, it's baffling to me that they would reduce the weapon number from 3 to 2. I simply do not understand this limitation. 3 was a good number in Fear. You could have a...
No. I'm gonna listen to the rest of this point, but no. If you had 3 weapons in Trepang, most people would run grenade launcher, bolt launcher, shotgun. You would melt, like, everything. The grenade launcher is probably the best gun in the game. It takes out a ton of enemies, insta-kills pretty much everything that isn't an armored guy or a boss. And then, if you could hold 3, you could just hold the bolt launcher. There's the heavy, he's out of the way. And then for anything else, levels, you could just have the shotgun. I think that it would melt a lot of the difficulty in the game if you could hold 3 weapons, because that combination would be unbeatable in 90% of levels. You would just have way too much access to too much. If we're talking about like the SMG, the rifle, like even if we include the basic weapons, I don't know why you would need 3 of them. Like the pistol, the SMG, like what, machine gun? Like I don't see why you would need those. Oh my god, imagine if someone had shotgun, grenade launcher, like smart minigun. Like it opens up an entire wormhole of you're able to do too much. It kind of be like if in Dead by Daylight they gave the killer 2 more perk slots. The game would fall apart. It sounds like a small addition. And again, I'm not trying to shit on this guy's skill level, but if you didn't play a lot of Dead by Daylight and you weren't really good at killer, you might go, man, I need 2 more perks. I just need something to balance this out, you know? But an experienced player would go, oh my god, that is such an awful change. So what he's saying here, I think it's an awful idea that would only really kind of make sense if you never played on the higher difficulties because you never wanted to go that far. And again, I'm trying to think of what you would need 3 guns for. I'm sure he's gonna go into it, but I can't imagine any combination that he's going to say where I would go, ah yes, SMG and machine gun, the 2 guns that basically do the same thing. I actually did want both of those, and then my shotgun. You know? So let's see here.
A gun for close encounters, an assault rifle or SMG because they're fun, effective, and versatile, and then keep a pistol on you for emergencies, or a sniper rifle, or the penetrator.
Who uses the penetrator? Who gets excited to use that gun in Trepang? And then a pistol or a, like, that no. No, I can't take this ride with you, boss. I can't take this ride with you. You could have a shotgun for close encounters and then a rifle, and then the thing is that Trepang is a close-up game. Like, the main reason the shotgun is so good in this game is because you have to be so close up to most enemies most of the time. You have such great agility, it doesn't make sense for you to just be trying to get people from down range with like the SMG or the assault rifle all the time. Most of the time, if you see sweats playing with the rifle or the SMG, it's because, well, what they're doing is getting close so they can just go kill the guy, or get up close, get a headshot. With the way that recoil and stuff works, mid-range weapons in Trepang, like, they function. They do what they're meant to do, but they're not like a super main focus. Like, you don't see people sniping super far from downrange with a revolver that often, you know? It's a rare occurrence. It's just with how fast-paced the game is, that doesn't really make sense. All the examples he gave don't really make sense to me. Shotgun, SMG, and then the DMR. I can't think of that many scenarios where you just need a sniper on hand because someone is so far away. At most, you would get 1 shot off, and then the enemies would all scatter, and then you'd have to deal with them with anything else anyway. And weapon switching would become a lot more cumbersome. I mean, you know how nice it feels to just switch from the shotgun to the grenade launcher to get that group out of the way? If you had 3 weapons, you'd have to go, oh no, that's not it. No, hold on. Like, at this point, I just don't think works. I don't think it works for this game. I have not played a ton of Fear. I played it, like, a little bit, because I was able to stream it before. But Fear doesn't have the same kind of movement Trepang does. The point guy or whatever, he's not subject 106. Like, he's not moving like 106. So him having 3 guns makes more sense because he does not have the movement of 106. And then combine everything I just said with everything I said before about the 3 weapon thing. I just don't think it fits this game at all.
Combat always felt very expressive because of this. In Trepang 2, only having 2 weapons severely impacted my enjoyment and experimentation. I mean,
Also, just to add this on, this whole enjoyment and experimentation point, if you had 3 weapons, I feel like you would just use those 3 weapons a lot. The thing is with Trepang is when you run out of ammo in a certain weapon, you're kind of forced to experiment with other guns, right? So let me give you an example. The machine gun. I didn't really like the machine gun. I thought the machine gun was just another assault weapon. And then I got to playing on survival or some other mode, like maybe it's a story mission. And I was like, you know, let me try out this taser mod. I mean, since these enemies all have machine guns, and I need machine gun ammo, I might as well get good with this weapon. And then I experiment with the taser, and I think the taser is a super strong, kind of underappreciated add-on. Like, it's an unappreciated little attachment to the weapon. I hated SMGs at the start, because like I said, Trepang is a very aggressive, up-close kind of game. It's why most people say the shotgun is an S-tier weapon, because when you're moving all over the place, getting up close, blasting someone, what do the kids say nowadays? Blast your shit smooth off. And then keeping it pushing. That's what you want to do. So when I had to not use the shotgun and use the SMGs when I first played, I was like, these suck. But then I got better with the game and I was like, oh, I have to line up headshots. A big complaint I remember someone having with the game is that they were like, oh my god, the enemies are so bullet spongy. But then you'll see a lot of the Sweats player, they don't really have this problem because they learned how to just spread headshots out with the SMG or the assault rifle. They're not preferable weapons, but you can learn how to get good and use them. And that's my main thing. This whole experimentation point, I just don't think it's letting him experiment with what he wants to do. But Trepang definitely pushes you to experiment with stuff. Even actually, survival mode is a perfect example. They give you challenges where you have to use other weapons outside of your comfort zone. The sword, I hated the sword completely. I thought it was an absolute gutter addition because you made a game with guns and there's a guy with a sword running around, and unless you have focus, the thing gets you murdered all the time. But I got better with it. I still don't think it's a perfect weapon. However, it has a massive skill ceiling, and I got to like tap into some of it because the game pushed me into doing that. And some of the grenades I got to like a little bit because I got to play the game more because it pushed me out of my comfort zone. This experimentation point, I think the way that he's phrasing it, I think what he's pushing for would have pushed for more stagnation. Alright, like if you had 3 weapons and you could have like ammo for all of them, pick up some ammo off of every enemy every once in a while, it would lead to a lot more people only using like 1 or 2 things the entire mission. The main reason you don't see everyone running shotgun, grenade launcher, and then just burning through the entire mission is because most missions don't just have grenade launchers around. So you have to use something else. You know, most of the strong weapon, like the bolt launcher is the same thing. The sword is the same thing. So I don't agree with this point at all. Genuinely, unless he says something super crazy that whispers perfectly into my ear, I do not think we're gonna agree on this point.
I'm gonna put down this shotgun. It's too good. It's too fun. So I can only pick up 1 other weapon from the other 6 or however many there are? Okay, well, a shotgun and a DMR pretty much cover my every need. But man, if I could just hold 1 more weapon, I would at least pull it out here and there out of a sense of curiosity.
How many people go around scoping with the DMR? In Trepang 2, the super aggressive game Trepang 2, how many of you guys go around scoping in with the DMR and getting some headshots off? I just don't think it's many. I think the main strength of the DMR is that it 2-shot body shots like the revolver does most enemies. Like, who's going, oh, they're downrange, hold on, let me scope in, booyah! Like, that's not I don't think that's a normal thing. Maybe it's just the way I play the game, but there's not been a lot of times I've been like, oh yes, let me sit back and scope in and bop, bop. Like, nah, it doesn't fit.
And improvisation. It's so bizarre to me that they would do it this way. But a 2-weapon limit absolutely can work if it has the systems to support it that push experimentation. Halo is the perfect example. Yeah, you only have 2 weapons in Halo, but in Halo you run out of ammo on the battlefield and you run around picking up other weapons to improvise with. And yes, this happens in Trepang 2 as well, sometimes, but some of you may remember a little game called Halo Infinite that completely broke the Halo combat loop by 1, allowing you to pick a fully stocked weapon of your choice before every mission, and 2, most importantly, scattering ammo boxes around the map, allowing you to refill the ammo of your preferred weapon. Now, instead of being pushed into experimentation through ammo limits, you can just run around with the same 2 guns of your preference the whole time and approach.
Again, you can start with the grenade launcher or the bolt launcher. There's not many chances you're getting grenade launcher ammo back. The only example that immediately comes to mind is Horizon HQ. And then in the level immediately after that, you can't use it anyway, you know? What else? Like the bolt launcher, you're only gonna mainly get it against cultists, and there's only 1 main cultist level in the game. So what are we talking about? The common weapons that you get ammo in that you can refill with all the time is like the SMG, the machine gun, and like basic weapons like that, or like the revolver or something. They're not the strongest weapons in the game that you normally get. Even shotguns can be kind of rare from time to time. So what are we about to talk about? I'm trying to figure it out because there's no ammo boxes in Trepang. Let's see.
Remission the same way. I never put down the battle rifle because I never had to. I guess people like this kind of player freedom, but I will never understand the appeal. It allows for homogenization of gameplay on a level that's just sad. Trepang 2 does the same thing. You can pick whatever weapons you want before.
First, like, am I crazy? Was that just like a massive contradiction? Is it me? Like, I want 3 weapons, but then I don't want too many weapons, but then it like stagnates the gameplay. Am I crazy? Like, he kind of did the argument I did, like, just now. And he's saying that the box in Trepang is letting you just use whatever you want solely, and that's not true. For the exact reason I just said. It's a little confused. I think this is a confused point.
Remission. and every mission is mostly keeping you stocked, whether it's ammo drops in combat, the eventual abundance of weapon boxes where...
He showed the one example of a grenade launcher being given. You're bugging. He showed, like, the one example of the game giving you a grenade launcher. He's showing the final level. Obviously, the final level is going to give you guns that are stronger because it's the hardest level in the game. Horizon HQ has the hardest, like, the lawyer thugs. They're like the hardest enemies in the game. They have the most health. They're the most accurate. They're just on you constantly. So yes, the game is going to give you ammo for that gun. Like, for the stronger guns. So what are we talking about? It's also the same level where you fight a helicopter. Like, what?
Find other weapons to use, but you can just as easily find a full ammo refill for the gun you've been depending on for the past hour.
Also, this only really applies, again, if you're using the basic weaponry. Because the game doesn't want you to just be dicking balls in hand, you know? Like, if you never got ammo for the SMG, you would be screwed, because you wouldn't have anything. If you never got ammo for, like, the pistol or the revolver, you would just be walking around... Well, my shotgun ran out of ammo like 3 hours ago. I guess I'll just slide and kick everybody. It doesn't make sense. Like, if you're a rifle fan, like, if you're an SMG or a rifle fan, like, yeah, you're gonna get ammo a lot. You like one of the most basic guns in the game. And that's not even me shitting on your, like, tastes or whatever. It's just the truth of the situation. Again, bolt launcher, grenade launcher, strongest guns in the game. You do not get many of those just handed out to you. The DMR, you don't get a ton of that either. So, what are we talking about?
Or side mission weapon boxes, where you can use credits to refill guns at any moment, before, after, or even during combat rounds. I wouldn't have as much of a problem with this if you could just...
That's kind of excluding the entire money system and the things you lose upon dying. I mean, like, what are we talking about? Or the fact that the guns are, like, scaled by their cost. You know, the grenade launcher's like 4,000, the sword's like 6,000, miniguns 8,000. Like... You just go, and I'm just gonna instantly refill my minigun or something. That's just not gonna happen most times. Most times, you'll get the grenade launcher, you'll get your shots off, sure, but unless you buy nothing else and don't refuel anything else, you're not gonna get that shit back, you know? So, kind of excluded a big part of the conversation by boiling it down that way, you know? Again, acting like you're gonna constantly have bolt launcher or grenade launcher ammo, that's just not true. In survival, that's just not true. Like, you're bugging. You're kind of bugging. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's funny. Again, I came in with the thought of, all he said was, it's just like Fear. But rewatching this, I'm not gonna say it's giving skill issue stuff. Like, just the way he's playing the game, it's not the way you play it if you've, like, you know, been sweating it out a little bit, like if you play on extreme normally or something. But it does feel that way. It's kind of like when you're talking to someone who played like Elden Ring, right? Let's say they played with like a massive shield build. So if I'm talking about fighting like Prime Consort Radahn, I'm gonna go, oh, you should roll this attack, you should roll this attack, and they would go, no, I don't have any need to do that. I just sat there and blocked and stabbed the guy. So if they try to play without that or something, they're screwed. A lot of the stuff that he's talking about, I feel are only takes you would have if you play on lower difficulties, or you didn't play a ton of like the harder stuff in the game. I don't see that happening. Like the whole walking to the side thing, this whole 3 weapons point, this you always have ammo for every gun that matters point. I just don't think you would have this take if you played on like extreme normally. Like, I just don't. I just don't. Maybe this is like a first playthrough take. A first playthrough on like normal or very hard take. But when you get into the guts and the nitty gritty where the game forces you to get good at its systems, I just don't think these are takes you would have. It doesn't really track. I'm sorry.
Hold a third weapon, keeping my primary stocked and switching out a third depending on its utility and my own ideas for playing around and experimenting. But only having 2 weapon slots and allowing me to refill ammo so liberally, it's just Halo Infinite all over again. Occasionally...
It is. What are we about to say? Occasionally what?
Ended up in situations where I had to throw down my shotgun and pick up a rifle with only 30 bullets, use it up, and then grab something else, and these were some of the best moments I had. They're just so few and far between because the game seems...
Like, what are you using? SMG only? The SMG only challenge? Like, what are we talking about? The best I can give him is the shotgun. There's quite a few shotgun guys, but like I think they're like semi-rare. right? They're not as common as, again, SMG or revolver or like machine gun guys, you know? What is he talking about? I don't see it. I don't see this point.
Set on making sure I'm as comfortable as possible. It's so weird because fear regularly had me in situations where I gotta set down that low ammo penetrator or assault rifle because picking up a new gun with full ammo is a more advantageous position going forward. It's sad to see that kind of design get pushed aside in a spiritual sequel. I'm not saying I didn't have...
Thank you, Ad. Thank you, Ad, for giving me the time to talk. They're not the same game. I think it's that simple. Like, they're not the same game. Yeah, it's a spiritual successor, but they don't play exactly the same. You know, Trepang seems a lot more frantic and moment to moment than Fear does. It's just a faster paced game. So it having different systems makes sense. Is that crazy? I don't think that's a crazy take. Maybe I'm seeing the I wouldn't Fear. maybe I'm seeing the basis of it starting to blossom a little bit. But I mean, these are kind of just takes you have if you don't play the game a ton. I don't know what else to say about it, you know? It's like if you're watching someone, like I said, with the Elden Ring shield build, if they tried to play without that, they would go, man, this sucks. I think they should change this. I think you should have more poise and be able to hit through stuff. I think Garden Pack should be automatic. Like, they might have some weird takes like that, you know, if they play the game any other way. That's what this is giving. But this has been an interesting experience so far. It really just has. Because I think when I first watched this video, despite the bad mindset stuff I said, I don't think I was as good as Trepang, or like at Trepang as I am now. Like, I didn't have the gold skins and shit back then. I think the highest difficulty I played on was like very hard. So maybe I heard these points and I was like, yeah, I don't think that's so bad. I don't think that's so bad. But hearing it now, I'm like, no. There's no way. Yeah, okay, let's continue.
Design get pushed aside in a spiritual sequel. I'm not saying I didn't have fun or experiment in the sandbox. I did. I like this combat. There's good challenge and excitement to be had, but it certainly isn't as well designed as Fear regarding weapon variety incentive.
Ooh, from your chest? It certainly isn't as well designed. Let me tell you that. Yeah, that's a conversation starter. Not in the good way either. You could say that about any kind of thing. It's kind of like when Feeble. I'm sorry to keep bringing bro up. He's just like the main person I know with like hot takes. When at the end of his Night Rain video, he said something like, "It's not a case of if this is the worst roguelite I've played. It's just obvious to me." Like, that's a kind of statement you make, and you're going to piss someone. If I agree with you or disagree with you, doesn't really matter. Just from a content creator perspective, that's throwing a match in. That's a spicy comment, but okay.
I feel locked into things too often because of these limitations, and it applies to grenades as well. There are 6 different equipment types.
Bro is using the smart gun while saying this, by the way. Again, unfortunate clipping. I think he probably just put background footage on. But using the minigun and saying, I've been locked into something, they never give you that thing. Again, I think that's just unfortunate overlap. But man, I mean, you know, come on.
Grenades, flashbangs, firebombs, proximity mines, rat bombs, and tomahawks. But in another baffling design decision, you're not allowed to carry more than one type. I can run around with 5 frag grenades, which is nice, but I'd much rather have access to a smaller number of 2 or 3 different equipment types to give myself more dynamic strategy options, like you see in Halo, like you see in The Division, like you see in Resistance Fall of Man, like you see in...
This isn't those games. I hate to say it. This isn't those games. Trepang has a more action-focused thing. It's kind of like Sekiro. You know how Sekiro doesn't have builds and shit like the Dark Souls trilogy does? Because it's meant to be more of one kind of thing. Trepang is like this fast, you go in, get this shit done, you're like a super soldier, you're jumping and sliding and shit all over the place. Like, it makes sense for that. You going, let me slow down and think. Let me get my flashbang out. Yeah, and then I'm going to flip over to my grenade really quick. Yeah, okay. Then I'm going to throw out a gas grenade right here. It's just not that kind of game. So when you point to things like The Division or like all of that other stuff, they don't play like this. I honestly think it's kind of baffling that you throw The Division in this conversation, like the build game where the combat is way slower and you're like a normal US Marine kind of guy. Like, obviously it's going to play different than the game with the super soldier guy who slides and jumps everywhere, you know? know? But again, if you play like this, where you're sitting back and you're like, hold on, let me get my mid-range rifle shots off in Trepang, then I guess I could see why you would have these takes. I just think it's a take made from ignorance. And that's a spicy thing to say. And I know it is, but I don't mean that in like the offensive way. I just mean I don't think he knows the game well enough to be making these claims of it should have been like Fear, like The Division, like Gabagoo. I know. I can't imagine switching grenades mid-fast Trepang fight. It's like the gun thing. It would be cumbersome. It'd be weird to do. So, yeah, no. No.
Doom Eternal. Hell, like in Fear, you could hold 3 different grenade types in Fear and use any of them at any time. Frag grenade, proximity mine, and remote bomb. Why couldn't we have that? I don't understand how I'm
scared where this statement is going. But, again, a thing I had to grow to appreciate about Trepang, because I was talking to a friend, and they said they like Doom 2016 more than Doom Eternal. And I was a big Doom Eternal hit. I beat Ultra Nightmare for the base game, and then for the second DLC. I didn't beat the first one. The first one was DLC was kind of crazy. But I was like, how could you like Doom 2016 more than Doom Eternal? Like, that sounds like an unbelievable take. And he explained to me, well, it's simpler, but you get to lock in, you know? Like, you get to lock in with a simpler moveset. And when I thought about it like that, I think that's why I like Trepang so much. Like, you're just kind of focusing on moving, getting your shots in, zipping out, you're cloaking your focus. It's a lot less than, hold on, let me get my flame belch out, and then use my chainsaw to get my ammo back, and then drop a grenade here, and then what runics do I have on? Like, it's a lot simpler, and there's a lot of charm in that. And I don't think he gets that. I think he's missing that point. So, yeah. Like in Doom Eternal, like in Fear, like in... It's not those games. I hate to say it. It just isn't those games.
Developers didn't think that setting down a proximity... Couldn't we have that?
We're at the develop, because I was like, he's either going to say the community or the developers, and neither one of those is a very good statement. And the thing that, again, is blowing me a little bit, I'm not exactly heated about this, I'm just really not agreeing with his take so far, is this is coming from a guy who played on very hard and doesn't have the best understanding of the game's mechanics. So going like, the developers are kind of stupid and don't understand, like, it's kind of bizarre that they didn't think about this. It's crazy when you're like mid-range DMR sniping people in Trepang, the fast-paced game. I think it's kind of wacky.
Understand how the developers didn't think that setting down a proximity mine to cover your exit and then throwing a flashbang into the next room wouldn't create more fun moment-to-moment gameplay. And
not that kind of game. This is not the I'm gonna slow down and strategically think. It's meant to be you're moving fast or you're dead. Again, play on extreme. I think extreme is considered like the normal difficulty for the kind of sweats of the game, or the people who want like that challenge from Trepang. You oftentimes are just moving or you're dead. You're not gonna go, hold on, let me go through my grenade catalog. Flashbang, no. Oh, proximity mine, yes. Let me throw that down there. Let me just cut them off really quick. Cut the throat, as it were. And then I'm gonna flashbang. Booyah! Is it me? Again, I got the gold skins and I platinum the game, but maybe I'm shit and I just don't think like this. But I think it's just not those games. I don't know.
Another part of the problem is the modification system. Whereas Fear's weapons were static, Trepang 2 allows for weapon customization through upgrade parts found in little bits of exploration and completing side missions. Now, I love the connection between side missions and weapon upgrades. Not only are these fun, action-packed, wave-based challenges, but you get something from it that applies to the main campaign. Great. Unfortunately, I think it just contributes to the confusion, because when you customize and upgrade a weapon in a video game, is it not because you like that weapon and want to hold on to it? This isn't Borderlands. I can only hold 2 weapons. I've got an incendiary...
So the complaint... Hold on. Because now you're confusing me. So the complaint was, I always have ammo so I can keep my guns on hand, and then they have the ammo box at the base so I can keep them on at all times, which I already disagreed with. But now he's saying, I can't hold on to them because I have to let go of them. Like, genuinely, I feel like you needed to do a second read of this script, because the Halo point I already thought was kind of bizarre, because it was kind of wrong, in my humble opinion. But then you're gonna, this doesn't make any sense. If you were freeballing this, no script, I would be able to give you a pass. But you scripted this entire segment that contradicts a segment 2 segments ago. And this is like a 10-minute script. And a 10-minute script is probably like, what? No, this is like 15? If I had to guess from when I script, 15 minutes, that might be like 2K? 2K some words? Like, you should have read this one again, because you're talking silly now.
Shotgun that destroys everyone, and a rifle with a laser sight and a 2x scope. I'm shredding over here. And yeah, that grenade launcher is really cool, but after I use it, I'm gonna have to remember where I dropped one of my modded weapons and come back to get it. It's a weird position to be in.
So the game doesn't push you to experiment, but then when you have to drop a weapon and experiment with something else, you don't want to do it. Oh, maybe I'm seeing the point. Wait, this is kind of funky. What are you talking about? Wait, this doesn't make any sense. Nah, bro, you should have had someone review this one. Hold on, this is kind of silly. I don't think it's like the worst reaction or review or whatever I've seen. It's not like I think he's being malicious. I think he's just unaware of what he's talking about. But this point is super confusing because it goes against what he just said like 5 minutes ago. If I wasn't pausing, it would have basically just happened. So what? What are we saying? What are we saying? What are we talking about? Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I would have stood behind this video, honestly. I don't know. If I'm him, maybe he didn't play the game anymore, like, so he didn't think back on some of these statements. But how do you... No, I can't even give him that. Because it's in his script, in the video he launched. So, like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I have to remember where I put my gun. Again, you don't just casually get grenade launcher shots. So you can't just usually go back and pick it up. So you have to experiment with other weapons and get better with other weapons. Like, what are you talking about? You've given the point and the counterpoint in the same conversation. And not to reinforce your claim to make it stronger, you broke your own point. So what are you talking about?
If, say, my incendiary round shotgun runs out of ammo, and there's no shotgun ammo in the next room, normally I'd be okay just dropping the shotgun to use another weapon for a while, and that's fun, but the next shotgun I find isn't going to have the incendiary mod, and I don't want to lose it.
You have 2 weapons, so why don't you just use your other weapon, and then, you know, I hope he says that next.
Well, I guess I'll just be running around the next areas with an empty shotgun for a while. See what I mean? These systems don't work together.
Is that big of a problem? Not having shotgun ammo for one part? If you want to be stubborn and not experiment when you're complaining about the game not making you have to experiment, but then you don't want to let go of the gun, what are we talking about? This doesn't make any sense. Do you see what I mean? Like, no. I can't say I do. Holy guacamole, what? I like how I came in. You know, I think I was a little toxic the first time. But genuinely, even if I released my first reaction, which honestly, I might do it on Patreon or something one day. But, like, my main reaction was this fear grasping and then like the demo point towards the start. That's what I remember talking about. But this is ridiculous. I mean, what do you mean? You gave the point and then counterpointed yourself. And then you complained about it. I have to experiment with guns that aren't the ones that I came in with. And then you went, but I'm always fine with the guns that I have because they give me so much gun stuff. It's like, what are you talking about? And then you're like, well, I don't want to use my secondary. I guess I have to run around with an empty shotgun for a while. How dare they? See what I mean? Like, no, you're talking silly. Like, this video isn't even, like, offensive. I really want to keep pointing that out. It's not like I think he's a malicious actor. I don't think he's trying to poison the well. I just think he's kind of ignorant. And I know that's, like, mean, but he just does not know the game to talk about this stuff is what it feels like. It just, like, he's not, like, offending the player base or anything. So I'm not really angry at him. I'm more so angry at these points. But it's really giving, like, I don't know, I beat the game once, here's my opinion on it. Like, he doesn't seem to understand the game. Like, he never adapted to the game. He walked in playing it like a movement shooter. That's the best way I can frame it. He walked in playing it like a movement shooter and not like Trepang. You know, like if I walk in playing Ultra Kill like Ultra Kill, it's gonna be different than if I'm just playing it like, oh, well, this is kind of like Doom Eternal. Let me just play it like Doom Eternal. That's what this feels like. It feels like, yeah, you know, I mean, it's a movement shooter. I'm gonna play it like the movement shooters do. Like, he never got the Trepang specific shit, like, understood. So it leads to him making all of these weird points. And I want to keep giving him that, but the contradiction between this part and the last part is still throwing me. So whatever.
These systems don't work together. Isolated, they are good systems, but together they end up working against each other, and it ends up making Trepang 2 a much less interesting combat experience than I wanted it to be. It's awesome, don't get me wrong. Slow motion sliding under a guy and blasting him him in the air as he flies around in mid-2000s physics engine madness is really fun. Movement and vaulting is fast and snappy. Loading times are lightning fast, and you get right back to the action almost immediately. While the campaign isn't exactly compelling, I do enjoy the level variety.
Ooh! Ooh! I would not have said that shit. Oh! That's like going like I hate to keep going back to Dark Souls. The Dark Souls story really is kind of boring, but I mean I like the levels, bro. Nah. Nah. I mean, they're Trepang lore heads, don't get me wrong. I love the Trepang lore. I think it's very interesting. But even the first time I played it, I was like, I got questions. You know, like it didn't seem like a super surface level thing, and then you have the intel notes and all that. And if you decide to read those are a whole rabbit hole in themselves. Like, I don't know. I think this is a point that like even Bricky or someone made, you know. They're like, oh, the story really isn't that interesting. It's like a vessel for just hitting things. And I think that's like a big disservice. While the story just, let me hear that again.
While the campaign isn't exactly compelling, I do enjoy.
Ooh. Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, I could see why fans would smite you for saying that. I mean, again, I think this is kind of just a point made in ignorance, or someone who really just didn't care to like learn the lore. And I can understand that, but yikes. It's one thing to say I wasn't interested in the lore to like, you know, the story just isn't compelling. Like, that's crazy. That's a spicy take. That's a spicy take. Especially from someone I just have a feeling does not know what's going on. From the video I've watched, I just get the feeling that he does not really know what's going on. Like, I couldn't go, oh, you know why you ended up in the back rooms? Like, do you know the shard? Oh, what about Anton Laser? Or what about how Patriarch, you know, had to deal with some of the other subjects? Or like, you know, the whole subject cycle thing. Or maybe, like, who does the, like, task force belong to? Like, the Syndicate and all that shit. Like, I don't see this being that person who knows the lore to talk about how it's not interesting, you know? It seems like a person who played the game maybe once and was like, and took it at surface level. I could 1000% see that. So him making this take, it like, this is really giving, I've scratched the surface, here's my full review of everything that I don't fully understand. And that's not really good. A lot of people were talking about the fear comparison thing, like even that video right next to this one, that is like, oh, it's bad because it's not fear. This does not end at it's not fear. I think y'all did a disservice to talking about this video if you focused on the it's not fear thing. Because it, like, at almost every point he's making is kind of wacky. At the start, for like the first like 5 minutes, I was like, damn, I'm just sitting here in silence. I don't got anything to say. And then he kept talking and it got worse. How did y'all lean on this fear point? You don't need to do that. He said so much that is kind of crazy that if you've played the game to a higher level than just it's like a movement shooter and you're playing it like Trepang, you wouldn't have these takes. So, alright. Type.
The level variety, as that was one of the flaws in Fear. The whole thing was basically just office environments. I love that enemies all drop a small shard of armor to incentivize you to run or slide over their corpses and stay in the action. I love that grabbing enemies lets you use their grenade by throwing their body and watching it explode. I'm happy that checkpoints don't refill your health, so you find yourself in tough situations that you gotta overcome. It's awesome that slide and jump kicks don't.
I'm sorry. I remember laughing at that clip of the guy just walking up and kicking his shit. I remember laughing at it the first time. I completely forgot it happened until just now. That was so goofy.
Or reload animations. I appreciate that the missions are more than just key hunting and switch hitting. You gotta shoot to destroy stuff sometimes, or throw.
Even look at how he's doing Horizon HQ. With SMG? You're shooting the brains with SMG? This is something, again, you would not do if you were Mr. Pang. I'm sorry, you just would not play like that. Shotgun one-shots the thing. There's no reason you wouldn't. And I can't even go, maybe he ran out of ammo. Unless he missed like 50 shots. They give you every gun in the game in the area right before this. And the enemies have shotguns. That clip is weird. Like, it's a weird clip for someone who's played this game. Again, unless you only beat it like once. Like, this is like a I beat it once kind of take. But like, ooh, it doesn't really make any sense to me. And some people might go, well, you're coming into this conversation years later with a lot more fan interactions and stuff. I haven't really interacted with the fandom. And again, like, this video was made 2 years ago. Some people might go, why didn't you jump on it back then? I didn't even play Trepang. I don't even think I knew what Trepang was 2 years ago. You know, I'm someone who's got into the games recently and I knew this video's infamy and I wanted to react to it. So everything I'm saying is just stuff from playing the game. So yeah, like, I've played it more than the normal person, but even like a while in, I would be able to go, hey, wait a minute, this take is kind of buns. Yeah, like, this is kind of yikes. And when you see clips like him scoping in with the DMR, him saying, oh, I want a mid-range and then a long-range weapon like the sniper or something. It really gives, he doesn't really get the game. That's really what this is feeling like.
These into generators and they explode. It's good stuff, it works. I'd like to replay the game, and I would if it didn't force me to delete my profile. Yeah, no profiles, just the one. How does that make it past the testers to a full release? I like having my completed save because I can replay any level I want, including side missions, and set the difficulty. Why would I give that up just to start a fresh save? Again, weird decisions, like the custom.
This point is weird. The main reason I can kind of understand it is because, like, okay, Trepang fans, all my Trepanglings out there, I would say that a really fun thing when you're first playing the game is clearing out the HVT board. I think that's a really fun thing. Once you beat the game, that is just not a system. So unless you delete all of your save data and start over, you're just gonna be stuck with that board being full the entire time after playing it, you know? If you liked unlocking the weapons or the task force add-ons or the grenades and stuff, if you like doing the challenges to unlock those, you just have them. You don't have to worry about anything like that ever again. I wouldn't be surprised if some people even forgot you had to unlock a lot of this stuff. Like the grenade launcher, I believe you had to play a good chunk of the game before you got it. And then you had to play on certain difficulties and stuff to get a lot of these things. Once you've beat the game, you don't really have to think about that stuff anymore. So I can understand like wanting a second save, but I don't think for the same reason that he does, you know? But it's a point. It's a valid point, I would say.
Appearance options. There's no multiplayer, and I don't think I saw a single reflective surface where I can even see myself, so what's the point? Maybe I missed something here. I'm sure you'll let me know. Alright, that's all I...
It's just a small feature that's cool to see when you're like sliding around and shit. Is it that crazy? Like, I don't think that's that crazy. It's not like a super big focus of the game, what 106 looks like or anything. You know, a lot of people run the prisoner fit because they like the fit. You don't see the full outfit, but you know, they like what the hands and stuff look like. Even look at something like Outlast Trials. That's a game where you don't see a ton of your character like in reflections or anything. You don't really see your own character unless you're like in the menu or like in missions against an imposter. But a lot of people just like the way the hands look or what you can see when you're moving around. So yeah, I mean, like the 107, the Anton, the Patriarch skin, they probably weren't in the game at the time that he's made this video, but people like that stuff. It's not a big thing. There's even challenges to unlock more like little outfits and shit. It's just something that's a nice little touch.
To say, again, I like Trepang 2. It'll be in my best games of the year list for sure. I'm just also disappointed by it. And instead of reviewing the whole package like everyone else does, I wanted to really pick apart some of the issues I think it has that I don't hear people discussing. What did you think? Did you like Trepang 2? Do you see yourself replaying it, or is it more of a one and done sort of thing? Like, subscribe, ring the bell, catch the latest episode of Mayo Movie Club. See you later.
I don't have anything against the guy. None of this stuff I'm saying is personal. I don't hate this guy. I don't actually really watch his videos, not even to spice it. I just know this one specifically, and I've heard of his Ultra Kill video again, but I haven't seen it. And I wouldn't understand what he's talking about. But like, pretty much every take here I feel was made in ignorance. The stamina thing, yeah, I agree with that. But pretty much everything else that he said just comes from not understanding the game that deep. It's a lot of surface level things you would say if you've just beat it like once or something. You know, again, if you play Dead by Daylight for like 1 or 2 games, you get looped out, or, you know, the killer destroys you immediately or whatever. You would have a very different take than someone who's played the game for a long time. That's kind of what this feels like. It feels like a guy who came in playing it like a movement shooter and not like Trepang. He did a lot of things in his clips that indicate that point. This whole, maybe I want a shotgun for up close, and then I want an SMG for mid-range, and then I want something like a sniper in the final slot. Most Trepang fans would not agree with that take. The 3-weapon take in general, I don't think most people would agree with that. It's just weird. This feels like a video scripted out of ignorance. It really does. I don't even really know what else to say. I don't even know how long this recording has been. This has been a 15-minute video, by the way. Don't know how long this reaction is, but yeah, man. Y'all making it sound like he just talked about it because it wasn't like Fear. Massive disservice to what he was saying. Because it's worse than that. And the contradiction is crazy. Ignoring the fact that he went in his comments a little crazy, you know, with the whole, the Trepang fans are pussies. Like, I didn't see any of the comments break it down the way I've been breaking it down. But, I mean, yikes. Like, this is bad. I don't want to say that, but like it really feels that way. It feels like a guy who played for a while was like, hey, here's my full take of the thing I don't fully understand. I don't even think I'm super special, you know, ignoring the gold skins platinum thing. I just think that a lot of people that have played a lot of Trepang would be saying the same stuff I'm saying if they were sitting in this chair commenting. These aren't like super hard to pick apart points. Like, if you listen to what is coming out of his mouth, pause, I think anyone would come to the same conclusions that I have if they were talking into this microphone. But I'm very curious what you guys think about this. I think that this is just... I think it's interesting that my past self watched this video and thought it was only crazy how he talked about how he didn't play the demo before the game came out. Like, I must have been ignorant back in that time, too, because yikes, it went a lot deeper than that. But what do you guys think? As always, as long as you're respectful, I'm glad to discuss with you in the comments. I know I came off a little hot. I'm really just kind of reacting to his points. Again, I don't hate this dude. But with that, I've been M, and I am out.